Hello there, I'm Aidan O'Sullivan. I'm a Professor of Archaeology in University College Dublin, and I want to talk to you about our book, Early Medieval Ireland, AD 400 to 1100, The Evidence from Archaeological Excavations. This was published by the Royal Irish Academy in 2013 as an e-book and as a physical book in 2014, and it was written by my colleagues in the Early Medieval Archaeology project, myself, Finbar McCormack, Thomas Kerr and Larkin Harney. Now, Ireland has the richest early medieval archaeological landscape in Europe, if not the world. We have at least 47,000 early medieval ring forts and castles, early medieval settlement enclosures on this island, dating to between the 6th and the 12th century and afterwards. We have something like 2,500 early medieval church sites. We have 1,000 early medieval souterrains. We have 2,000 cranos, most of which are early medieval in date, as well as hundreds of other sites of early medieval date that have been excavated in this country. There is historical, but particularly archaeological evidence of a growing population in Ireland from the 6th century onwards, deriving from a sophisticated agricultural system with evidence for innovations in craft production, particularly metalworking, and all of this, along with the conversion to Christianity and what it does in bringing literacy to this island, makes this a time of extraordinary interest to scholars of the past. Our archaeological evidence gives us insights into how people lived together, how they worked the land, how they practiced their religion, how they made, used and discarded things, and how they buried their dead. Or in other words, how people used landscapes and settlements and material culture to build their own worlds over 1,000 years ago. And most of the exciting and challenging new insights we have into this society have come from the archaeological excavations that were carried out over the last 20 years. They were the work of literally hundreds of archaeologists, working sometimes in advance of roadway schemes and other developments, and particularly in the commercial sector, such as those managed by the National Roads Authority, now the Transport Infrastructure Ireland, but also scholars working in the National Museum of Ireland, the National Monument Service in the Republic, and also scholars in the Northern Irish Environment Agency, as well as universities north and south. Our book, Early Medieval Ireland, AD 400 to 1100, The Evidence from Archaeological Excavations, has the longest list of acknowledgements, 5 pages in all, thanking everyone who helped us that I've ever seen in an archaeological publication. But we were particularly grateful to the Heritage Council's InStar programme, which funded the Early Medieval Archaeology project from 2008 to 2013. What was EMAP? What was the Early Medieval Archaeology project? It was a collaborative project between University College Dublin and Queen's University Belfast, and involved the work of teams of archaeologists working in both institutions, working for years to gather information from hundreds of publications, but also unpublished archaeological excavation reports. And we published in EMAP monographs on settlement and dwellings, on agriculture, particularly on livestock and crop cultivation, on crafts production, and numerous other papers. And that team involved a range of scholars with expertise stretching across everything from settlement to radiocarbon dating, to environmental archaeology, to crafts and artifactual studies. The Royal Irish Academy's book is a synthesis of all of that and has chapters on the history and legacy of early medieval archaeological excavations in Ireland, on early medieval dwellings and settlements, on the early medieval church, on farming in early medieval Ireland, on early medieval crafts and technology, on early medieval trade and exchange, and on death and burial, and with a conclusions chapter that tries to pull all the themes together to explore how that society changed across time from the 6th to the 12th century AD. We also have a collection of 16 tables of data of everything from houses to pottery to coins, and 100 pages of a bibliography. And that signals that at all times our intention in EMAP was not to try to write the last word on the subject, but to provide a gateway for future research for others, to make available the stunningly, extraordinarily rich archaeological evidence for the peoples of this island over 1,000 years ago. If you're interested, the Royal Irish Academy is making available Chapter 3 on early medieval dwellings and settlements, free to download from its website. Have a look at it. I hope you find it as wonderful and intriguing to read as we did to write it. Thank you very much.